Okay, so let's get right into it. We're about to open an 800-year-old cold case file. And no, this isn't some made-up legend. It's a real, documented event from the 12th century that still has historians and scientists completely stumped. This is the incredible story of two children who literally seemed to walk out of the earth.
So, picture this. It's a quiet medieval village in England. Life is tough, but it's predictable. Then, one day, right in the middle of the harvest, that predictability just shatters. Two kids, a boy and a girl, crawl out of a deep pit. They're terrified, they're speaking a language nobody has ever heard, and their skin is a shocking, vibrant shade of green.
All right, to really get our heads around this mystery, we have to start right where it all began. Let's treat the village of Woolpit as our historical crime scene and start piecing together exactly what happened.
Now, what's so fascinating here is the timing. This didn't happen in some peaceful, stable kingdom. It all went down during a brutal civil war they actually called the Anarchy, a time when law and order had basically collapsed. So, imagine you're a villager. You're already living in constant fear. And then this happens. Two green kids crawl out of the ground. It wouldn't just be strange. It would feel like the world itself was breaking apart.
Every good cold case needs a solid file, right? So let's open ours up and look at the evidence we actually have. The star eyewitness accounts and the forensic facts that science can give us all these centuries later.
What's just amazing is that the story wasn't just some local folklore. It was documented as real news at the time by two very well-respected historians. One of them, William of Newburgh, was known for being a huge skeptic, but even he was convinced because so many credible people were telling him the exact same story. The other historian? He got the story straight from the horse's mouth, directly from the knight who took the children in. This wasn't a fairy tale. It was treated as a historical report. Okay, this detail is just incredible. It shows you just how out of place they were. They refused to eat any food except for broad beans. But here's the kicker. They tried to break open the stalks, not the pods, as if that's where they expected the food to be. I mean, what kind of place teaches you to eat a plant like that?
So what about that green skin? For centuries, this was the most supernatural, unbelievable part of the story. But modern medicine actually has a chillingly plausible answer: chlorosis. It's a really severe form of anemia from malnutrition that can literally tint a person's skin green. Their otherworldly color wasn't magic. It was a sign that they were starving to death.
From here, their paths went in two totally different directions. The boy, who was described as being deeply sad and withdrawn, got sick very quickly and died. But his sister, who the villagers named Agnes, was a fighter. As she started to eat and recover, her green skin faded away. She learned English and was apparently a bit wild and defiant. Think about that. She didn't just survive something that killed her brother, she adapted and actually thrived in a completely alien world.
All right, let's move into our first set of theories. These are the down-to-earth explanations, the ones rooted in the brutal, tragic reality of 12th century life. So if we stay on planet Earth, there are two main theories. The first is a sad story of war. They were Flemish orphans, their parents killed in a big battle nearby. Lost, starving, speaking a different dialect, they would have seemed totally alien to the villagers. The second theory is straight-up true crime. Two kids poisoned with arsenic for an inheritance, just enough to turn their skin green and mess with their minds, but not enough to kill them. They were then just dumped in the woods to die. Both are awful, and honestly, both kind of fit the evidence.
But what if those simple explanations just don't cut it? Now we get to the really strange stuff, where the theories get a lot more interesting. And they're all based on what the girl herself had to say.
Once Agnes could finally speak English, this is what she told everyone. She said they came from a place called St. Martin's Land, and in this land, it was always twilight. The sun never rose high in the sky. I mean, that one statement from the only eyewitness changes everything. Was she describing a memory, a hallucination, or another reality entirely?
So how did they even get here? Well, Agnes's story is incredible. She said they were out herding their family's animals when they heard this beautiful, deafening sound of bells. Drawn by this sound, they wandered into a cave and walked through darkness for what felt like forever until they suddenly stumbled out into the blinding sunlight of our world. A simple sound, the church bells from a nearby abbey, had apparently pulled them through some kind of portal.
So, where was St. Martin's Land? The theories are mind-bending. Was it a lost community living deep underground in some ancient mines? Was it a parallel dimension, what Celtic folklore called the otherworld, and that Woolpit was just a temporary doorway? Or, and this is a really wild one, was her description of a land of perpetual twilight the memory of life on another planet? Maybe one that doesn't fully rotate?
So, after all this time, after looking at all the evidence and all the theories, the file remains open. This is hands down one of the oldest, coldest cases on the books.
Over 800 years. Just think about that. That's how long this mystery has lasted. It has outlived empires, revolutions, and the birth of the entire modern world, and we are still no closer to a final answer. But the story doesn't just end there. In what might be the craziest twist of all, the strange green girl from the pit, Agnes, she went on to marry a royal official. This mysterious outsider became part of the English upper class, which means her DNA, wherever it came from, is now woven into the genetic fabric of that entire region. Her story is literally alive today. And incredibly, we might be on the verge of finally cracking this whole thing open. Modern technology like LiDAR could actually map underground tunnel systems that might match Agnes's story. An ancient DNA analysis could potentially find a unique genetic marker in remains from that time, tracing her lineage. This 800-year-old investigation might be heating up again.
So let's just end with this one final, pretty unsettling thought. Agnes lived a full life. She got married. She almost certainly had a family, which means if her story is true, her descendants, people carrying the genes of another world, could be walking among us right now. The answer to this 800-year-old mystery might actually be in the DNA of someone alive today.